I wonder if you get the joke. The joke is the astounding obviousness that this is all there is. You know, you've heard me say the word this. And if you're still looking for this, of course, all you've ever done, all you can ever do, is say, oh, this, but not this, another this, some alternative this, not this boring, mundane, unsatisfactory, barely mediocre, probably extremely painful, full of regret. Not this. No, not this. Some other this. Well, there isn't one. There isn't any other. Full stop. There's no other place. There's no other time. There's nowhere else. There's no other this. Only this. I also might guess that because you've been going to non-duality meetings for a long time and you've listened to all sorts of folk speaking about this, then you've already sussed that there is only this, and it isn't another this, it is this. But that probably hasn't solved the problem, because the problem is that you can't get this, find this, have this, be aware of this, be conscious of this. So to all intents and purposes, there is no this. Not one that you could say, okay, now there's just this. And really, I think when I was seeking, for a long time, there was an intellectual understanding of there isn't any other, there's no other time or place. There actually isn't time or place. But I was still waiting to know this. And it's this sense of when I'm there, then I'll know. When I'm there, then I'll understand. When I'm in the place where he is or where she is, then everything will be clear. It's almost exactly the opposite. What I'm talking about is a doubtless uncertainty. So all that seems to have happened is that there's no longer any doubt that anyone knows more about this than anyone else, because all knowledge of this is empty. It's futile, it's pointless, It's worthless. And the emptiness of value, of meaning, of purpose, so paradoxically is what you've been looking for, and yet it isn't what you've been looking for, because you've been thinking and looking for purpose, meaning, clarity, understanding. And there can be no knowledge of this, because there isn't anyone apart from this to know this. There isn't anyone apart from this to understand this. There isn't anyone apart from this to be clear about this. Just this. And this isn't a certain way. It's always as it is. And as it is just how it appears to be, as it seems to be. Outrageously simple. Outrageously obvious. Undeniable. Totally undeniable. There is no denying this. Any denial of this is just this. And rather than waiting to solve the mystery, to understand the mystery, there is just the mystery. And the mystery and the ordinary are not two. This incredibly miraculous, mysterious ordinariness. But what I'm speaking about is nothing that you've nothing that you've longed for. It's certainly nothing that I longed for. I was always longing for something else. This can't be what you're looking for. The looking for is the seeming overlooking of all that there is. Now, this can't be missed, but it is seemingly missed in the looking for it. Because it can't be found, it's everywhere you look, without exception. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation. And the inclusivity that there is no possibility of any exclusion may feel like unconditional love. It might not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does. Well, thanks for being here today. If you want to ask anything or you want to share anything, then just put your hand up.
Jonas has his hand up.
Hi, Jonas.
Hi. When you say, or you said before, this is it, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. I don't know how you said it actually, but
I probably didn't say this is it. I maybe try and avoid saying this is it because it sounds like sounds like it's something, I guess. So I tend to just say there's just this, but yeah, it's more or less the same as saying this is it. Of course, this is it and this isn't it, and they're not two.
like now here, I feel it's this kind of, it's this feels too, it's not terrible, but it's not, it feels like a situation I don't want to be in. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, and then there's for how on earth, it's as if it's waiting for some kind of relief or something.
Yeah. Well, if there's waiting for relief, that's this is it.
Say it again.
So if you're waiting for relief, this is it. The waiting for relief. You know, there's no so the inclusivity, the unconditional love is that it's not how you want it to be. So the whole notion that you're waiting till there is relief, or it is better, or you feel this is okay. You know, the okayness, that you're going to be okay with this. Really, what I'm suggesting is that it's perfectly okay that it doesn't feel okay.
And then here the thought is, well, I have this notion that over there must be more freedom or something.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, and really, what I'm trying to suggest, the whole crux of this is there couldn't be more or less freedom. Now, relatively, there could, of course, relatively, if you're imprisoned physically or you're suffering psychologically, you know, if you're depressed, then you probably feel imprisoned. I've experienced that in my life, and I know how that feels. And there is a real sense of imprisonment, of being enclosed. What I'm saying is that all of that is completely free to appear. That's the freedom. So this isn't the freedom for me, it's a freedom. It's not even freedom from me. I've said that before. I have said in the past that what I'm speaking of is freedom from me, not freedom for me. But of course, there isn't a me to be free from. So I wouldn't say that anymore. And I think I used to say that. I probably did. But the freedom is that everything appears as it appears.
but isn't there
I mean, there
something?
wouldn't be any freedom. If freedom was the only way that freedom could appear, then it wouldn't be free, would it?
Yeah, but then here it goes, wait a minute, but still there is a kind of seems like there's a freedom to not suffer from it. So there is something different.
Yeah, I could speak about that, and I probably don't speak about that maybe as much as I could, because it sounds too enticing, and there's no doubt here that it's just a story. So the story of when I felt like me and I was suffering and I was feeling imprisoned, and I was feeling separate and small and afraid. I can tell you a story of that, but it is just a story. And what I'm suggesting is that the feeling of that is no more free or no less free than the feeling of I have no idea whether there's a self or not.
Yeah.
If I thought there was a way to teach, if I thought there was a way to teach liberation, then I would be teaching it. I'm a qualified teacher after all. I've got letters after my name, but they don't say non-duality teacher, the letters. they say Bachelor of Education, and there is nothing to be. This is not about education at all. This is not a teaching. If there was a teaching, then I'd be teaching it.
But then why the hell, I'm talking to you, just listening, there's some kind of relief again happening. And then it feels like, oh, that's some form of teaching. But you're saying, but that's not it, I get. Well, that's nothing special.
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean. Yeah, because people would say it's some kind of teaching, some would, and then others would say, no, there isn't. Because I'm not specifically teaching you. I'm only teaching you that there's nothing to be taught. And whether you want to call that a teaching or not, you can call it a teaching. And some people say, there is a relief. There is a very natural relief in, oh fuck, I can't get it. I mean, that's really that's the relief. No, there isn't. It's not even that you can't get it. There's no you to get it. I mean, it's even more of a relief than I can't get it or I could get it. It's not that you could or you couldn't. It's that there's no possibility of this being got or had or understood. There isn't actually anything to understand. So you could say it's a teaching that there's nothing to be taught.
But could one say, in a sense, something does happen in the sense that there's no trying to get something anymore?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the only thing, because there isn't, there's no sense of here of the absence of me. I think one of the biggest, I think I suffered as a seeker in non-duality. I suffered under the understandable delusion that I would be aware of when I wasn't here. I would be aware of the absence of myself, or there would be an awareness of the absence of me. And of course, that's what I wanted, because I wanted to be there to celebrate the liberation. Now, this is the bummer of all bummers, probably. This is the cosmic joke. Of course, you won't be there to celebrate your demise. You don't get to go to your own funeral. You just don't. You know, you might have had that. You know, you've written the perfect eulogy and you're standing a ghostly apparition around your own grave and just loving people sobbing at your demise. And, oh, wasn't he wonderful? And maybe it's just me and my grandiosity. I don't know. Probably is. But the joke is, of course, you're not there to know the absence of yourself. Because there isn't a self to be absent or to be present. And that is a relief. But it's not, it's kind of like this, it's an empty prize, because you thought there'd be a prize at the end of this, Jonas. You know, you're going to get some kind of trophy, there'll be an award, you'll get a certificate, and you know, a verification of liberation. There won't be any verification. This can't be verified. I couldn't give a shit what anyone else says. I don't doubt that there's no verification of whatever we want to say the absence of the seeker is. There is a rest, though. There is a rest and a peace that is undoubted when you know there's nothing to look for anymore. But you might find you don't know what to do with yourself, with your time, because you've been fucking busy seeking nothing for years. And you'll go, what the hell am I meant to do now? I found nothing. What do I do now? And by found nothing, I mean there was nothing to find. You didn't find nothing. And then you might laugh and cry and not know the difference between the two. Having said all that, Jonas, when you say there's some relief, which, you know, well, maybe that's good enough, Jonas. I don't know. It's maybe as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets. Good Jack Nicholson film.
My favorite, one of my favorite films. It's great.
There you go. I love it too. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, self is always saying, well, this can't be as good as it gets. It's got to get better than this shit show.
But the awful thing, if I may say, is listening to this, and sometimes I hear there's this kind of feelings, and oh, it's all fine now. And then there's a kind of memory, kind of, oh, there was something special, like when I was talking with Tim, or there's something special that also knowing that there isn't anything special, but there's a longing for kind of a nothingness or something. So
Yeah.
that also comes.
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about the end of longing. I'm not talking about the end of anything, actually. I mean, it may sound like I'm talking about the end of me, but I'm talking about there isn't a me to end, which is quite different, really. Because I was seeking the end of me, and then in the end, there was not a me to seek the end of. It's all very unsatisfactory for the one who wanted to find out. I didn't find anything out at all. But finding that there's nothing to find, that is the peace that passes all understanding. There really is.
Yeah, I've got a thought or two.
Pardon?
I said I have a thought or two. Can you hear me? No?
I can hear you, Cliff, yeah.
I don't know if this is going to make any sense. We talk about this is it. And if I say that to somebody, it's usually like, so what? You know, what does that mean? Of course, this is it. So what? But it's not just so what. For myself, when I rest in that space, and if I'm full of shit, Tim, you know, I love you, dear. You just tell me that. I don't mind. You know me. When I rest in that space is something very special and sacred about it that I don't know if I could describe, but it's like amazing to me. There's an amazement to it. So it's just this, but it's just this. And you know, I don't know how to put that in words. I don't know what makes it. And I know we don't like to use the word special because everything is the same. But so let's not use the word special. Let's use the word perfect or I don't know. Just right. You know, just as it should be. There's no qualms with anything. Maybe that's what it is. There's just no qualms with anything. There's nothing to argue with anymore. So it's not just it. To me, it's an incredible relief, and that relief is in a way it's joyful. It's a letting go feeling. So it's a very special thing to me. So it's just this, but it's just this incredible this.
Yeah, that's
Even when it sucks.
yeah,
Even when it sucks, and you know we've talked about that in the past.
yeah.
And it could be sad, it could be grief, it could be pain, it could be all of those things. But still, there's that bittersweet taste that you can, you know, in a way savor. So I just want to say, you know, it's just this, but don't want anyone to come away going, oh well, it was a waste of time. It was just this, you know. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is I think that people, I could sometimes hear it as just this. So the big thing is it's the end of seeking, and that's all you're solving. All right. So I'm looking for my keys and I find my keys and they're in my coat pocket. So it's the end of seeking, but I don't walk away the rest of the day going, I found my key. Well, sometimes I do. It's tough for me.
Well, you might do.
Yeah. So, but I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody.
Well, no. Well, I just think that no, that's lovely, Cliff. Because but the end of seeking is the rest, is the peace, is you said there's a joyful, blissful okayness, even if it's not okay. So I like the phrase that it's okay that it's not okay, because that was never how it was for me. What my interpretation of not feeling okay was, what the fuck is wrong? And what the fuck am I going to do about it? And I had to do something about it, and I needed to get on it right away. And it was saying all kinds of shit about me, how wrong I was. Not only the wrong that I'd done, but that I am essentially wrong. Now, the end of that sense of essential wrongness, that there is something wrong with me, there is something missing from me, there's something incomplete, and that needs, I need to solve this, I need to fill this sense of incompletion. Well, when there is just this, when this is it, there is no sense of incompletion, and it is that simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be completely good. It doesn't have to be completely right. It doesn't have to be completely anything. It is just a sense of there's no more. There's nothing to be added or taken away, simply because that's not possible. That's just an idea. So even the ideas of adding or taking away, they're okay as well. There's just a real peace and rest in that. And that is exactly the same as not seeking for completion. So that drive to make this better, this drive to become better, the absence of that is, now I don't call it bliss, because I always had this idea of bliss as being something quite spectacular. And this is so ordinary, so so just such a simple okayness, that I always feel it inappropriate to use the word bliss. But I don't own, and there's no way of knowing this, but I guess that's probably what all the teachers have always been speaking about. And they called it bliss, or they called it sat chit, Ananda, which I never know which word is which in that threesome. But one of them is bliss. And for me, the thing that resonates most for me is that it's okay that it's not okay. So there's an okayness that is all consuming, all inclusive. And like you say, it includes all the things that I would have said are not okay. Sorrow, grief, loss, anger, resentment, envy, jealousy, all the deadly sins are included. So when the sins are no longer sinful, if you've been brought up a Christian or a Jew, then there's something quite wonderfully blissful about that sins are no longer a sin. There's something quite wonderful about that.
You said something, and it resonated before when you said, I don't have to do anything about this. I don't have to fix this. Something along those lines, and maybe that's what I felt in here. That was a big part of this, that there isn't anything I need to do or an I to do it to fix it. It's just doing its thing. And there's no I there to do anything about it. That was such a pressure for me, that there was something I was missing. I had to know, that I had to figure out, that I had to do to fix this, to make it better. And that's kind of like, when you talk about the end of seeking, I think that works for me as the end of seeking for the thing that had to be done. When I normally think the end of seeking, when you say it, or when other teachers say the end of seeking, I'm thinking about if I opened up my cabinet and I'm looking at a wall of books on every spiritual Zen practice, the 8 gates, emptiness, the heart suit. It just goes, it's just this shelves and shelves of books that I was seeking an answer, a spiritual answer. But it's not just that.
It's not just that, no.
It's that seeking of how to fix what's wrong, that I need. What is it that I need to do that I'm missing? But there's nothing to do and there's nothing missing. So that being the end of seeking is, to me, is like, well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty worthwhile. It's not seeking the answer to a test question. It's a little more than that. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, thanks, Cliff. Yeah, that's lovely.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was just thinking how seeking is a bit like one of those toy wind-up monkeys that, you just wind up a little bit and there's a bit of tension in the monkey and it's just drumming, and eventually it just stops drumming. And there's a little bit less tension, and then the monkey doesn't know what to do anymore.
Well, he probably doesn't get out of bed.
He probably doesn't.
Well, he doesn't get off the sofa. That's you. That's Darren, Monkey Darren. He's just sitting on the sofa all day. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing some research.
Yeah, that's a good excuse. That's a good excuse to sit on the sofa all day. Yeah, I love that. So you've just been on Facebook and you've just been Googling all day. YouTube
research.
And you've said, and you're calling it research.
Yeah. I completely forgot about your meeting.
I know you did. Well, we've only done it every Thursday for 5 or 6 years.
No, yes. Yeah, it's funny how it's fun. I was just saying, it's funny how seeking can just stop, and it just stops, and the relaxation in that is sort of might be what you're looking for as well, in a way. it's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is something else. But you'd be surprised by the relaxation in not looking. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's not what you're looking for, but it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
It's the British form of enlightenment, which is, so how is it after enlightenment? How is it? Well, it's not too bad.
Too bad.
That's the British form of enlightenment, not the American form,
No.
which is
Bliss.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Incredible. Yeah. So I followed Tim Cliss for years, and I achieved enlightenment, and it wasn't too bad. It was, well, it was kind of all right.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, what are you expecting out of life? You're expecting too much. Come on, that's it. Life is just as it is. Come on, not too bad, and generally reasonably okay.
Much the same. Much the same, really.
No, exactly the same.
Yeah.
So what changed? I do like telling people that. So how is it now? How is it different before and after? Well, it's exactly the same, but completely different. Because nobody wants to hear that. Oh, Razia, hello.
Hi. Hello. Yeah, like from what Cliff was saying, there is this assumption, this thing like where if you shift and you have done a whole lot of things, and then you kind of experience this shift, then you would now be thinking, those were the things that led to you experiencing this, And yeah, I think that most of us get caught up in that, like if you are sitting there and you're meditating and suddenly you find something has happened, and there is a difference now. So you now will associate whatever with that. I don't know if you can hear me. So we'll say that, that I did that, so let me carry on doing that. There's an attachment to whatever. So I think that's why
Well, that's probably why I don't talk about. I don't really.
Yeah, I think that's why sages will say, don't have a method, because if you have a method, then you're going to associate that. Or if you have a guru, then you're going to associate that with the guru. I don't know, but that's seeming. And then what Darren was saying was, he said, seeking stops. And within the appearance of this, there is so many of us, and there will always be seeking. It never ends. If we are to look at the appearance as being what we are, that every aspect or expression of this appearance is who I am. And if Brendan is still seeking, then I'm still seeking. There's seeking never ends. So, yeah, and and then I remember it's like what you said, like the seeker is the sought. I remember when I realized that I was sitting there and talking, and suddenly it struck me, God, I'm looking for myself, And
Well,
that is the joke.
It's interesting you say that, because of course I was never looking for, well, I was always looking for myself when I was a psychological seeker, because I wanted to understand.
Yeah.
So I was looking for
No,
myself.
no, I
And
didn't say I was looking for
I should
myself.
have gone to India,
I was looking,
because a lot of my friends went to India to find themselves. That's quite a common thing in England for British
yeah,
young
yeah. No,
British men to go to India to find themselves. And I was thinking, well, I don't think you're more likely to find yourself in India than you are in Cambridgeshire. Probably not.
yeah, that's true. I mean, there is no such thing as a place or person or anything, you know. When it happens, it happens. But the likelihood of it happening, I don't know if maybe it's just you can't say it. But I mean, the likelihood of it happening is when you are with people who of the same kind, you know. If you all are seeking together, but then that will also say that I mean there are no others other than yourself, you know. But if you are in the company of people that are seeking, then you would probably be doing the same thing.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't say
So
that
yeah,
there's no.
thanks.
Oh, thanks, Razia. Of course, I don't say that there's no others but myself. I say without myself, there's no others.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
Which
true.
might, which
Because it's
sound the
all
same.
yeah.
But there's only other than me. There's
Yeah.
only other than me if there's me. So the others are other me's to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was talking to human beings, I mean, here's a ridiculous story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. When I was me talking to other human beings, what I always inferred was the other me inside that other human being, who I called you. So I called you the self that I was talking to. Me inside this human being was talking to that me, which I call you, inside that human being. And that was the conversation I was having. Now, fortunately, no one can tell that I'm now no longer doing that. All the me's still think I am talking to them when I speak to them. I'm fucking not. But they have no idea, because, of course, here's the thing, they could never see me. So they don't know whether I'm here or not. Because no one's ever seen you. No one could ever see you. There is no you to be
Yes.
seen. And that
Yeah.
is beyond, I mean, that in itself is worth talking about. That's immeasurably liberating, because it's the complete death of self-consciousness, because there isn't any possibility that even if there was a sense of me, that could be seen. And I was always
Yeah.
either trying to be seen or trying to avoid being seen. And the wonder of wonders is no fucker could ever see me anyway. It's quite a joke. No one's ever seen you. You do not exist to be seen or not seen. Isn't that wonderful? Thanks, Razia.
Yes.
I say thanks. I
Thank
did
you.
most of the time. Thanks, Razia. David.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, David.
In a relative way, because words are all relative, there is a finding when seeking is over, and that finding is finding oneself in others, finding coming home. I feel that in the times in which there was seeking for this stick figure or whatever is human, it was looking for those like me, looking for someone who understands, looking for the ones who knew themselves and, in that sense, knew me. The me then disappeared completely, but the me in others appeared as Tony and Tim and Barbara. All the others that are here are me as well. So I found me, and seeking is over in that sense. Our meeting today is evidence of that. Is the culmination and the fulfillment. This moment is the fulfillment of all of that. So thanks to everyone for being here. Thanks to all those who are in the sound of my voice and in the sound of this recording as it goes out through YouTube, for the beauty of discovering the unlimited me. And there's no separation anywhere. For that, I'm so grateful for the reality of what you've just shared with us. It's all this and there is no this. It's all the beauty, and it's just that we focus so much on the words, and what we're here sharing is totally behind or outside of the words. Totally. Thank you, Tim.
Oh, thanks, David.
That's nice. I like. It's lovely listening to that, David. I get this. I feel that there's like an emptiness or a stillness that seems to seep through everything, and in that sense, it feels like everyone you look at seems to be just this sort of still. You could say the same stillness, but I don't get any sense that that is me, or it just feels like there's this, fullness of everything and this emptiness that seeps through it that seems to make everything feel the same. And in that sense, you could say that feels like me, but it doesn't feel like me because it just doesn't feel like there is that could be whatever me means. I
Right.
don't know. That's how it feels when it. Yeah.
It has no meaning outside of our
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now, whatever you want to call it. It's
Yeah.
it's here, but you can't capture it.
Yeah.
There's no way to
Yeah.
capture it.
No, so, I mean, no, well, it's when we get when David said about the words, the words are irrelevant, which they are. Most non-duality discussions are just about what word can we agree on that is the unspeakable and the unknowable? Well, of course, none of the fucking words, that's for sure. So I stick with emptiness, because emptiness seems the most appropriate. Emptiness is made of, because it's empty of everything, and it seems the most appropriate. Of course, I have no idea what I'm talking about when I say empty at all. When I say nothing, I have no clue. It's just it's an empty word. So the only thing I know what I'm talking about, you could say, are objective words. So we kind of can agree on chair, but when I say empty, I have no idea what you perceive as empty. But for that which can't be spoken of, that which can't be known, the mystery, the miraculous, the unknowable, I use the word emptiness like Darren does. And I don't mind David saying that every other human being seems like me, because of course every human being is equally empty. So I would say that because there's emptiness the emptiness that is inside is identical and totally undistinguishable from the emptiness outside. Now, I would say that's how I would describe it. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that I can't tell the difference between me and you. Now, I don't mean that physically. And again, here the words fail, because of course I do know the difference physically between human beings. I can discern the difference between.
Sure.
I haven't lost that ability. But that's very different between me, the difference between me and you. That's what's gone. So and there's nothing that what I'm always pointing at is, without me and you, there isn't anything in its place. There's not anything in my place. There's not anything in your place where you used to be. There's really no knowing the difference.
Right.
And that again, that can feel like unconditional love.
Yeah.
Even for the human beings you quite dislike and find them rather distasteful. There's a sameness that is undeniable. You know, I was always looking for those who were like me, like-minded, similar characteristics, similar likes and dislikes, similar preferences, similar views, similar beliefs. And of course, they had to be like me, otherwise they were wrong. Well, the wonder is, of course, there's no one to be wrong if you're not right. I'm no longer right or wrong, and neither are you. And again, that's quite beautiful. I still dislike you just as much as I did. I still disagree with your views just as much as I did. And yet, there's much more importantly than that, there is this sameness, and that's what we can't talk about, but we can try to. And so we end up talking about unconditional love, and people will go, what the fuck is he talking about? And amazingly, there's no longer minding that people go, why does it? I quite like his non-duality. He's all right, but then he goes on about love, unconditional love. I really wish he wouldn't do that. But I've got to talk about some of the good stuff.
Yes.
Well, thanks very much for coming, everybody. Quick plug, I've got a meeting here in Cambridgeshire a week on Saturday, on the 23rd. And then I'm in Brighton for the whole weekend of the 26th and 27th of April. And there's still a few places left for that if you'd like to come. Just email me at clistim@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for coming. Nice to see you all.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks for everyone who contributed and joined in. Lovely.
Thanks. See ya.
Thanks, Jim.
Lovely job. Not too bad as meetings go. That's going to be my new moniker, that is. Enlightenment brackets. Not too
Not
bad.
too bad.
I really like it.
Yeah, that'll do.
It's got a 7. That'll do. That'll do. It'll have to. Oh no, it'll have to do. It's whether that'll do or not. It'll have to do, won't it? It will.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It shouldn't be this is it. It should just be that's it. That's it.
That's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm trying to end the recording.